And that happens in every generation. They said to me, who's heard of Bob Hoskins? Well, you know, all right, he's not Charles Bronson, who in fact they couldn't sell a film with. At the same time as I was doing that, they were doing Raise the Titanic.
You're right, yeah.
I mean, to which Lou Grade said it had been cheaper to lower the Atlantic. You know. I mean, so in which case you had a kind of, it was a generation kind of
Sure.
thing, but they hated it, and they hated the fact that there was nobody in it. Now, it's not, in the world I was living in 1979 and the early 80s, or even slightly before that, Bob Hoskins was it's a bit like Ray Winston's coming tonight.
Sure.
I had trouble getting Ray Winston into a film with the fucking film council.
Really?
Because he was on television that night.
Oh dear me. Oh, how dare he?
So, but he'd already done Zulu Dawn. He'd done a lot of pictures. Helen Mirren had played opposite, you know, what's his name, old actor. She'd done some movies.
Sure.
She'd also starred in some Don Boyd film, or one Don Boyd film.
Right.
She was known to be talented,
yeah.
but possibly in terms of international sale, people might have been interested in her, but in actual fact, she wasn't a name in the way that they say it is.
It's the name above.
She's a name now because they call her the fucking Queen.
Exactly, that's right. Exactly. She's done all right since. Yeah,
all right. I mean, and now how can she appear in anything else? You know what I mean?
True. How long was the production itself then? Was it were you on time? Did you not? Were you giving yourself an X amount of weeks, months?
No, we went. I think the original budget was 811,000. And I think we actually came in at 900,000. I mean, there's a lot of messing about.
How dare you?
Well, no.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cheap film, even in those days.
Yeah.
I mean, now you can make them for less.
That's
you got a good mobile phone.
Yeah. Strange enough.
As I will say tonight.
So, was it in that sense? Was it a production that went as well as you would have hoped it would have gone? Was it?
Well, the production.
Yeah.
No. The production went well because essentially, the artists were nakedly professional.
Yes.
They knew what was going on.
Sure. And
they could do it. And also, I mean, there's a lot of thing about, John McKenzie's a good actor, but he can't fucking work with movies. Well, hit the marks. The gore of it. But if that lot, and that is going down to some of the small parts that are here tonight.
Yes, exactly.
Were absolutely kind of like skillful.
Yeah.
And also there was a sort of a sense, and it's happened a few times in my life, where what you're doing draws everybody together.
Yeah.
And I remember, working with Tom Bell. It's like, say, with Bob. You knew that with Tom Bell, although it was a nightmare after the curtain came down, you had to be on your toes if you were playing opposite him.
Really?
Otherwise you'd be out of the frame.
Right. And so,
and that lot in the Long Good Friday were like that.
Yes.
You couldn't get away with anything in terms of, say, I'm not talking about the art of acting, I'm talking about actually the professionalism and the skills. And also, there comes a time when, in actual fact, the whole acting plays the movie.
Well, I was going to say to you that
they don't play, themselves.
Well, especially with action films as well. So many times you content yourself with the fact you're watching an action film and it's bang crash wallop and all the small characters are one-dimensional and you don't really notice something because you expect it. But in that film, it details everything, isn't it? And it clearly worked.
Yeah.